Welcome back to Rides and Drives Team Radio. I'm Harvey. She's Kaz, and it's the day after the 1 day delayed Music City Borchetta Bourbon Nashville Grand Prix, whatever we want to call it.
It was in there. If
Yeah,
you rearrange those words, you do get the correct name.
so we're good because this weekend was insane.
Yeah, it sure was. First of all, look, we just have to acknowledge how disappointed we are that this race couldn't happen when it was scheduled. This would have been a really, really great product to put in front of all of those eyes. It's nobody's fault, not blaming anybody. Obviously, we have to keep the drivers safe, and there is 0% chance we could have run in that weather. But what a horrible curse from the universe. Maybe that's what I get for all of the good luck that we burned on Indy, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice to have that big World Cup audience come and see the race because even, the first 50 laps of the race were super entertaining. So
Really
even if they didn't
exciting.
stick around forever, people would have seen some really good races and gone, "Oh, hey, maybe I should check this out when I have more time."
Yeah, definitely. It's a bummer, and also there's something about Nashville under the lights, which we didn't get because the race went forward during the day. Again,
Yep.
I totally support moving it to when they did, all worked out great. But it is every great thing that happened during the race on Monday, I was thinking, man, this should have happened last night.
Yeah, and there were a lot of highlights, but we'll get to those. What I'd like to do first is talk about the championship because this race maybe slammed the door shut.
Yeah, well, you see what shirt I'm wearing, right? It's a big, bright yellow DHL shirt. Look, the train is leaving the station. Get on board. Look, I'm a fan of each and every driver. I want to see all of them win races and championships. I know that they can't all, and I wish they could. Um, Alex is a great guy. He's a great driver.
He's a great
Absolutely deserves
ambassador
this
for the
championship.
sport.
But
Yeah.
man, it does feel now with Malukas in second place, 83 points behind with only 6 races left in the season. That great conversation that we were able to have for the last couple of weeks about will there be a championship fight? It feels a lot more far-fetched now. It feels a little bit like a waste of time. Alex is in order
Yeah.
for another driver to win, we did the math right before. Somebody would have to pick up more than 10 points on Alex every race. And that's Malukas would have to pick up more than 10 points. There are some
Right.
drivers who would have to pick up 20. In order for that to happen, David Malukas would have to beat Alex in every race, but also Alex would need a DNF, a bit of really, a very
Yeah.
poorly timed caution at the end of the race because if Alex gets bad luck in the middle of the race, he has
Yeah.
time to make his position back.
He'd
Uh,
need a Santino Ferrucci,
yeah,
right?
you need you need something dramatic to happen at least once, if not twice. And then you also need to finish ahead of him in every other race. And that's just with 10 races left in the season, finishing
Right.
ahead of Alex 4 times and him having bad luck twice is a possibility. This is not a guy who makes mistakes often, and it's just not a guy who bad things happen to that often. It seems like, he again this week he had
Yeah.
the most spectacular luck of everybody on that track, and I just don't see that happening for him in this small window that we have for him to make those errors.
Right. I think the only track that random luck plays any role coming up is Milwaukee.
Yeah,
You
Milwaukee is
know,
going to be chaotic, and it is 2 races.
right. But,
So,
like we're saying, he would have to have bad results in both of those races.
mhm,
And last year he almost won that race.
yeah.
So, let's put this notion to bed that Alex is not an oval driver. We know he is. Done. He's the best he's the favorite on every circuit right now
Yeah,
until somebody beats him.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, he won the Indy 500 last year, almost won Milwaukee, wins at Nashville this year. Eh,
Yeah, he was running strong in Phoenix when he was booted out. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, Alex,
um,
there's not a track you can count him out on. And because of that, I think that it's not the championship is his to lose. It I mean, we're Detroit Tigers fans, right? We saw them blow a 15 and a half game lead last year.
right.
It would be that.
Yeah. It would have to be an epic collapse
Yeah.
for Alex not to win this race. And that's just not going to happen to Ganassi. That's just not going to happen to Alex. So
Yeah, not a
let
Palou move.
let's put the trophy on ice. We'll keep score until the end of the season, but I'll be shocked if going into Laguna Seca, there's a chance for David or someone else to catch him.
And hey, look, maybe Alex DNFs twice in our next two outings. I doubt it though.
All right, so let's talk about the race. Obviously, we can talk about Alex and his sparkling good luck again.
Oh my God, he's just kissed by the gods, you know?
How does he get that into the pits 3/10 of a second before the yellow flag flies
You
and
know what?
closes pit lane?
You know what I'm so impressed by is the confidence from him and the Ganassi team to make that call because they knew that yellow, they're not, they're,
Hmm.
they're experts at what they do. They absolutely knew that yellow was coming, but either they were willing to take the risk or they just flat out knew based on where Alex was and how fast he was moving that he would make it beforehand. And I
It,
respect that call so much. I love that they did it. I also love Joseph immediately on the radio. How'd Alex get in? Like, yes, that's what you want to see. All of these drivers being incredibly competitive and checking up on each other. I
yeah,
thought that was a great moment. And yeah, I mean, totally free pit stop. Um,
yeah,
Keeps him
and
right at the front. And then later in the race, when there was another caution that gave the opportunity for you to be on the wrong side of the strategy, Alex employed a different strategy than what he was doing before. Instead of coming in early, he intended to stretch those tires as long as possible. And because of that, they got the cheap pit stop under caution. Alex, man, nobody else got the good luck twice.
right,
Everybody else
yeah,
had one good, one bad.
yeah,
Joseph
Maluka
had
specifically,
decent luck first, good luck second. But
right,
everybody else had one good, one bad. Alex got the good luck twice. That's crazy.
yeah, yeah, and then the other thing that happened at the end of the race in them only having primary tires left, right?
Hmm.
And we know, I mean, if people don't know this, Alex prefers the primary tire
Alex loves
always.
primes, talks about it
If
all the time.
if he's given a choice, he'll take the primary tires. So people were like, "Well, weren't you worried because the Reds were going to be faster?" He's like, "No,
Yeah.
no,
First of all, they didn't have a set of sticker reds left
right,
where other teams did. So that was never an option for them to begin with. But even if I hadn't known that, I would have been 0% surprised to see Alex put on primary tires for the end of the race. I'm
right,
surprised when I see Alex put on alts at the end. Even on a race when everybody else seems to prefer them, Alex tends to like to be on the primes at the end. Um,
yeah." Well,
so and
yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, and sorry to interrupt, but when he goes to the alts at the end, he tends to go longer, right? It's a little bit longer
mhm,
so that he doesn't have a cliff on
yeah,
those tires. And he's going to, if you don't get him right away with the alts and he's on the primes, you won't pass him later in the stint
yeah,
because his tires will be stronger and yours will have hit the cliff.
yeah. And
And
as we've discussed, his racecraft is exceptional. So if your tires are comparable, realistically, he can make himself wide enough that you are not getting by him anyway.
well, and that track, again, early in the stint, they brought the sweepers out, cleaned the
Hmm.
marbles off the second, the high line. But after 20 laps, that high line's not available anymore in the
Yeah,
corner.
flying high in those marbles is, we saw a little bit of it at the end of the race last year, and it was spectacular. But
Yeah.
man, were we clenched the whole time. I remember sitting there watching McLaughlin and Simpson.
But and look at what happened to Rasmussen up
Yeah,
in the marbles. And, we saw it yesterday a number of times. So
yeah,
there was no way to run the high line late in the stint. So the only chance Joseph or David had to get Alex was in those first two laps after the restart. And when they didn't get him, they just
not going
had
to
to
happen.
drop back. And it was
Yep.
really, really interesting in the post-race press conferences because Joseph came out first and
Mhm.
he was not just disappointed, he was mad. You could tell he was just really upset that he didn't have a chance to race for the win.
Yeah,
He wanted it. And, he gave a bunch of one-word answers to
sure.
journalists that asked questions because there was just nothing that he could say, once that last restart came in, once Alex had track position, there was no way he was going to get by him. So,
Yeah.
that was that. But then after getting his IV and fluids replenished and everything, Malukas came out and he couldn't have been happier. I mean, to go from 25th to third, great. He said, I drove the best race I've driven probably in my career.
Yeah.
He couldn't have been happier. So it was just really interesting to see the difference in the drivers.
Malukas was absolutely on fire on Monday. It was wonderful to watch. He did benefit from that safety or from that caution at the end.
Hmm.
And everybody benefits from cautions from time to time, but all of the on track passes he was making were absolutely spectacular. He did one incredible weave
Yeah.
through three cars, and I am blanking on who they were right now, but I'm gonna rewatch
One
that.
was Stingray Rob.
Yeah, that's
I think
right.
it was Stingray Rob in front, and he just kind of went around
Did
and
this
just
beautiful
timed
weave.
it perfectly.
The
Um,
confidence that you have to have in what you're about to do to
I think it
commit to
was
a move like
Erickson
that.
too. I think he
Yes, it
was
was. Yes, it
passing
was Erickson.
Erickson for position and lapping Stingray Rob, I think
It,
was kind of where it was. And it was just a great, great move, knowing exactly how much room he had, pulled out, got it, and was able to just pull away at that point. So, great driving by Malukas, great driving by Joseph.
yep,
It was also interesting. They talked about, are you bummed that it wasn't a 300 lap race instead of 225? Could you have made it?
sure.
And Joseph was like, I would have driven 500 miles. I,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, I if it's like
Joseph
just
will
keep going.
drive any distance to get to
Right.
those last five laps on an oval.
Yeah.
I love there's no more electric driver in the series than Joseph Newgarden in the last five laps on an oval race when he's in contention for the win.
Yeah.
And in the last five laps of this one, he really wasn't.
No, they just
So
couldn't.
I understand his frustration
Yeah. They
because
could.
I
They
also felt, if Alex is going to win, cool. I like the guy so much, but I would have loved a fight. That's the only thing about this race that I could say, maybe was lacking a little bit, as I would have loved a little bit of a fight for the win on the last couple of laps. Because
Yeah.
as we
Yeah.
saw at Indy, there's nothing better than that on an oval.
Right. So that was too bad. But otherwise, I mean, all race long, up and down, just great action and some really good performances. I think we have to give a shout out to Mick Schumacher.
Mick, yes,
Yeah,
I was so proud of it. I've met him like twice. I don't care. I was so proud of him. I was proud
yeah,
of him the whole race. I keep like nudging my husband and being like, look at Mick. Look at Mick. He's doing it.
yeah. To finish
Really
top
excellent to
10
see.
on this, that's great. His best performance of the year. Let's hope this creates momentum moving forward. Portland should be a good track for him, should be a decent track for RLL.
You know where
Um,
I'm actually going to be looking out for Mick, honestly, is
hmm,
Milwaukee. He qualified very, very well at Phoenix. And while the race didn't go spectacularly for him, that was because it
mhm,
was his first ever oval race.
right.
Uh, I, on all of our ovals so far this season, those are the times that I felt he's been the most interesting to watch, which is fascinating because I thought for sure, Barber Road America,
Right.
these beautiful flowing road courses are going to be where he finds his comfort here. But he is looking racier on ovals to me than he is on road and street courses.
Certainly
And
was yesterday.
and I'm really looking forward to seeing if he can continue that trend in Milwaukee. For Look, I don't think his contract is in a lot of contention.
Right.
He brings too much to let him go after one single year, especially given he did have a top 10 finish in that year as a rookie. Um, but I wouldn't it be cool if the place where Mick Schumacher found his home in IndyCar was at oval racing? How fun would that be?
It's kind of
It
hilarious.
would
But
blow the mind of every European racing fan who doesn't understand why ovals are great. And
and
maybe it would introduce some of them to why ovals are great.
yeah, it would. One other driver I want to mention,
Hmm.
finishing 15th,
Hmm.
Stingray Robb.
Yeah.
He drove a clean
Wow.
race. He drove a clean race. He was never going to be in contention, any of that, but he just drove a clean race, good strategy,
And he
stayed out of
kept
trouble.
pace as
Yeah,
well, which he doesn't necessarily always do.
right.
You had Graham Rahal running back there much slower than the rest of the
Yeah,
pack. Stingray kept up with everybody, ran a clean race. Finishing 15th for him is awesome. I love to see that.
yeah,
Really, really hope he can keep that up.
yeah. Oh, no, I agree. Finishing 15th on the lead lap, good for him.
It's incredible.
I think that was solid. Um,
I also
and
want to give a quick shout out to Santino Ferrucci, who would
yeah,
have finished in the top 10 were it not for that final caution. He was one of the drivers who chose to pit a little bit earlier and wound up getting, you know, a little frustrated by the drivers in front of him getting their cheap stops when he had to pay for the whole thing. Regardless, he drove a really awesome race.
yeah,
Santino is so dynamic to watch when he's driving well. And I feel like we've been missing a little bit of that fiery Santino on track this season. So getting it here felt like a breath of fresh air. Really excited to see him.
yeah. I agree. I did see an interview with him after the race and talked about how he got screwed by that last yellow. He said he was sure we would finish fifth or sixth if it wasn't for
Yeah.
that. And I'm sure they would have. He was very strong
Oh
all
yeah. I
day.
I wouldn't have I wouldn't have put fifth past him at all.
Yeah.
I think he was right there and he was driving very well. So no reason to believe that he couldn't have finished out that race. And then I guess one driver who I want to give a shout out to in like sort of a backhanded reverse way is Pato Award for his
Why?
for his seventh place finish when he was running very far back the
Yeah.
entire race and he was the beneficiary of that caution and good for him for utilizing it, taking advantage of it, and managing to secure a top 10 finish in a race where, man, it really did not look like he was anywhere.
Oh, he nor anyone on his team. I mean, Lundgaard finished 16th, Siegel at 11th, and
Mhm.
I'm sure Siegel was the beneficiary at the end as well. So,
Siegel was running an all right race,
mhm.
you know,
And
just all right.
it was funny because it was they were all just invisible all race.
Yeah, there was no reason ever. I think even the guys in the broadcast booth at one point said, we haven't talked about the McLarens so far this race. We don't even really think we've seen them outside of, they're in a pack that's being passed. And
Right.
that's definitely how I felt. And look, even as the beneficiary of the caution bumped up to the top 10 where he wound up finishing, Pato wasn't looking like he might make any moves. He
No, he got
just
passed a couple of times.
yeah, he just held on to a semblance of what he was given. So interesting to see McLaren put forward, given how much focus their program puts on the 500. And I know that 500 cars are different than other oval cars and the racecraft is different. But Nashville is the closest thing we have to Indy on the calendar. You would
Yeah.
expect McLaren to do better here, given how much focus that program puts on the 500.
And he was great here last year
Yeah, he
until his
was. Yeah,
tire
he
cut
was
down.
so good.
So they were fast here last year with
Yeah.
more downforce. So for some reason they weren't able to drive the car with lower downforce,
Yeah,
and that hurt them. So um yeah, and then there were just a couple of odd incidents in the race.
there certainly were.
Boy,
Let's start with the
when
weirdest one. We know
the
which one we're
Rossi,
thinking of.
yeah.
Yes.
uh, that was just when I saw it happen, it was like, what?
Yeah.
He must, I thought maybe his engine broke, Rossi's engine, went out or something, lost power, right? Because he was right in the middle of the racetrack.
It looked like a brake check. I know it wasn't. It
Yeah.
it looked like a really like petty brake check. It
Yeah.
was
But,
so dramatic. And I knew it wasn't that immediately, but I remember just yelling, Rossi, like, what are you doing, man?
and then he said after the race that he was trying to turn into pit lane.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
um, if you look at it frame by frame,
Okay.
which I did,
You sure
if
you did?
if you look at that frame by frame, you see just before, and I mean 5 feet before he gets hit by Dixon, right? He just starts to turn
Mm,
in toward the pit entrance. But you do not slow down and enter pit lane from the middle of the track. That's just crazy. I
in
mean, yeah,
particular, not when you have a car right behind you.
right. You don't want to lose, you don't want to slow down too soon because obviously that'll cost you time
Hmm.
in your total pit lane, your total pit time. But you cannot, lift and brake in the middle of the racing line,
Yeah.
and maybe he didn't see Dixon behind him, but his spotter should have known.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't
you
care if he
have
didn't see. The
you
spotter
have
should
to
have
check.
told him.
Yeah, I mean, and Dixon did a thing where he was like went outside, then came back inside,
Hmm.
and was gonna pass him on the inside. It looked like, and maybe Dixon looked and saw him on the out, or Rossi looked and saw him on the outside, thinking he would stay out there. I don't know, but it was not a good moment for Rossi at all.
No, it wasn't. And it's not the kind of move I expect from him. His race intelligence is very high.
Yeah.
And that's just not the kind of thing I expect him to do. Yeah, that's all that can be said for it. It was just the weirdest little incident. I had no idea what I was looking at initially. I'm glad you took it apart and watched it slowly because now we can at least understand what happened. But it is a little baffling that that was the method he chose to enter pit lane,
To try to
knowing he
enter.
was in
Yeah.
traffic.
Yeah.
Knowing he was in traffic. If you
Yeah.
know you have the whole stretch to yourself, okay, do something weird on your pit entry. That's fine, I guess. You might sacrifice time. That's not my business. But you know you're in traffic. Come on, man. Just take the expected route into pit lane.
Right. You've got to be on that inside part of the track and dive in. But yeah, that was an odd one. Any other incidents that we look to? I mean, the one guy again who is totally entertaining on the track, and you were right, was Christian Rasmussen.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, he
mean,
was a little too entertaining,
his
I would
driving
say.
style was never going to make it to the end of the race.
He had some incredible maneuvers and
Yep.
some really great moments. And he had some stunning saves as well.
Yeah.
He's
Oh
always
yeah.
capable of those. That's why he's able to drive the way he does. But this race is even shortened back to the initial 225 laps. This race is too long. The marbles are too marbly. It is too highly banked. There's just no way to race that way for 225 laps and not have something bad happen. The only person I can think of who could theoretically get away with that is Alex Palou
Yeah.
because of the beautiful luck of the universe that he has. But nobody else has the luck to be able to get through that many laps and drive the way Rasmussen was driving. Loved
No.
watching it though, man. And you know what? On ovals for him, it's spin or win.
Yeah.
That's great. I love it.
Yeah.
Keep doing
And
it.
so he was fun to watch for sure. So not a good day for ECR. We had hoped for a better day for them. But both of their drivers going out like that on self-inflicted wounds on both of them, honestly.
Yeah. And then I was really disappointed also for both Kaio and for Will Power, the both
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah, and
Kaio in particular, man, I just
Kyle,
want him to have a clean weekend. He really deserves it. He's such a good driver
he
and
was
such a nice guy.
so contrite after too in
Yeah.
the interview. It was my fault. I shouldn't have pushed that hard that early.
Yeah.
Got to get through the race before we start. And yeah, he knows that. He's learning.
I
But
love that he's able
this
to diagnose that. I love a driver who is humble
has
and
some
can
self-awareness.
and
Yeah,
can be self-aware that, hey, I have made the mistake. I think that that's really important. And I mean, look to Alex, right? He's
right.
completely unstoppable, and you have to imagine part of that is because he's built a great working relationship with his team. Because when he does make mistakes, they know that he's going to own up to them, and that makes it safe for them to do so as well. Um,
Sure.
that's the kind of if you're looking at the driver as like, forgive me for this, but if you're looking at the driver as like the quarterback of the team, right? There's a team culture there that starts at the very top. And Kaio to me seems like the kind of guy who could build it.
Yeah. Yeah. He just has to stop making mistakes.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, he does.
next year he'll be more seasoned. He'll probably have more patience. We'll see. But
But we'll have less. And that's the thing. When you're a rookie, you get free passes for rookie mistakes, but
right.
that stops the second you enter your sophomore season. So he
Sure.
does need to clean it up quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. And Will Power, unfortunate day. I guess we expected Andretti to be stronger overall.
Yeah.
The fact that Kyle ran up front a little bit, but then wasn't really competitive with the Penske cars or Alex for the rest of the race.
Yeah. Yeah. There was some nice racing from him early on, but it really did look like just pure pace wise, he wasn't quite where he needed to be, almost there, maybe.
Right.
And then again, Erickson was just kind of
Yeah.
there. And
Around.
and Will again stretching his streak of having just some really, really terrible luck this season, man. And he's been
Yeah.
so candid about that in interviews. He's like, look, guys, there are like three races I think we could have won if something hadn't have happened. And yet again, Will just had something happen.
Yeah.
It's a bummer.
Yeah, it's interesting. The thing I was thinking about this track is, and it surprised me about this race yesterday, was how much track position mattered
Hmm.
once things started shaking out.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
expected the track to be racier. When after that first caution where Maluka stayed out so he could get to the front, and then he ran away for a bit on used tires, on older tires. That surprised me. I mean, it says a lot about David, said a lot about his car and all
Hmm.
of that, but everyone on new tires couldn't get by him. And
Yeah.
then you saw like that one point where I think he came up behind Graham or somebody, and it took him several laps to get by.
He was
S-
stuck behind Graham for quite some time. I remember thinking to myself, Graham, if you're going to be this slow, don't make yourself this wide.
yeah.
Like, come on, man, just let the race happen.
Yeah, but it was, he was trying to stay on the lead lap
I get
and,
it.
but
He has something to fight for just the same as everybody else.
right. And unlike F1, there are no blue flags. You don't
And I
have to
like
move
that.
over.
So,
So, and the other thing I like, and this came to play at the end, is team orders are illegal in IndyCar. They talked about this they talked a little bit about it on the broadcast that, oh, there won't be any team orders. Nobody's going to be on the radio saying, hey, let me by, I'm faster.
mhm.
That the reason that is because it is specifically against the rules.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I love about IndyCar.
Yeah, me too. Make him earn it. And you know, I like Formula
Yeah.
One very much, but boy, do I get frustrated sometimes when toward the end of the race they're just swapping around for something as silly as, you have two more points in the championship, so you get to finish first.
Yeah,
Make it mean something. Make them earn it.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. No, it was a good race yesterday. It was a little anticlimactic,
Sure.
but lots of action up and down. And again, one more thing I just want to say about Malukas. I did write down a couple of quotes from the press conference from him.
Hmm.
And right away, I think Dave asked him to talk about the race, and he just said, "I'm so happy. Life is good right now." He said yesterday, and then they asked him, "What if the race had happened yesterday or
Huh.
on
On
Sunday
Sunday.
instead of Monday?" He said that would have been survival. Today was game on. So, he that extra day of recuperation. He said, yeah, he was laying down in the trailer at like 8 o'clock, praying that the rain would come. And when it did, he was like, oh. And then he said, I went right to sleep.
Yeah, I'll bet he did. Well, good
So,
for good for David. And there is a little bit of silver lining about the race being moved, right? Is that we got to watch him put on that really, I mean, that was a special drive from
yeah,
David
yeah,
there. That was
yeah.
the kind of drive that doesn't happen very often. And a worst to first is awesome, but worst to third is sure not bad.
Worst to
It's
podium. Yeah, that was great. And it took really good driving. It was
yeah,
a combination of smart strategy early and a little bit of luck on that pit stop, but a lot of good driving in between.
and a lot
So
of confidence.
good for him.
Yeah.
So he did well. And guess who else did well yesterday?
Is it possible that we did?
Uh, I know I did in the victory lane game. It wasn't a great day, but there were a couple of good ones. Let's talk about it a little bit. We both had our podiums here. I had McLaughlin P1, Newgarden P2, and Kirkwood on the third step was mine. So I get 2 points for Joseph finishing where he wanted. You
We
had
sure do.
Malukas on the top step, so you get one.
Yep, I picked Chaos Podium, and neither of my other two predictions came true. Though I do want to throw out a shout out to Santino, who had a phenomenal race and maybe could have finished third. I mean, it would have been a stretch, but
Right.
it would have been possible. He was within fighting distance until he got bumped back by a caution. So I'm
Yep.
happy that Chaos Podium was fruitful, even in a single point.
So after the podium, I have 2 points, you have 1 point. Then we go to
Hmm.
biggest mover. And had it not been for David Malukas, you would have had the biggest mover
I sure would
in
have. Felix Rosenquist had a very
infield.
nice race. Also, assisted by the late caution, but
Right.
doesn't matter.
But
He
doesn't
he
matter.
moved quite a bit.
He moved quite a bit, but my pick, David Malukas, moved more. So I
Sure
got
is
a
nice to
point
pick
there.
first.
The beauty
And
of
hey,
getting to
guess
pick
what?
first.
It's not all tears for me because I'm fairly certain biggest bus goes my way. No, it doesn't.
Actually, it doesn't. It
It's
goes my
Rossi.
way. Alex Rossi was the biggest bust. Rasmussen would have, again, had it not been for Rossi. So,
Damn you.
so my
Look at this.
hunch paid off. So I am now at 4 points, and you are at 1 point going into our plot twist.
And you guys, I think I don't know what happened in the universe in the last few weeks, but this week, both Harvey and I get points, positive plus points in the plot twist. We both predicted something that came true. And frankly, we both predicted something a little wild.
Yeah,
I said that Mick Schumacher would not only be the highest performing rookie, but that he would finish within the top 15. Man, I could have said top 10.
yeah.
I'm
And
so impressed with Kiddo. And because I knew it was so wildly unlikely, I only gambled 1 point. So that is plus
only
one for
one.
me. I am at a positive two on the day. And it's been a while since I've scored points. So I'm going to take it happily.
And I said three Penske's in the top five. And we got that. And we actually had three in the top four. And because of that, and my 2 point wager, I end the day with 6 points. So now I am at 9.5 points, and you with your 2 points are at 5.5.
That's
So
we're moving in a positive direction, and
positive
I will
direction.
take it. And you know what? There are still 6 races left for me to pass you in the championship. Our championship race is nowhere near as
No, it's
closed
not.
as the series.
But one final last minute little award I do want to give the Rides and Drives Team Radio Driver of the Day to Mick Schumacher.
Yeah,
I mean, we could talk about
100%.
Alex's win. We could talk about Malukas' great run up. We can talk about, some other things in there. But to see Mick finish that high on that race, I hope he's feeling great today because he should.
I'll bet he is. Yeah, I'll bet he's having the best day today, and he deserves it. I'm so happy to see. I completely agree with you. Alex drove a great race. David, incredible. But you expect Alex and David to put in incredible performances. You pick David for the biggest mover because you know that when David Malukas starts at the back of the grid, he's going to move up minimum 10 positions,
Yeah.
but probably closer to 15, 20. We know that Alex Palou is going to win many races,
Yep.
but nobody looked at Mick Schumacher that morning and said, you know what, kid, you're finishing top 10.
And he did.
And he did. So super, super happy to see it for him.
So now we go into this mini summer break. We've got a
Mm-hmm.
few weeks until Portland. Hopefully, we'll be doing some driver interviews here in between. We've got some other things we can talk about. They will be testing the new car. We understand that will be happening. So
Can't
we'll
wait to get
bring
my eyes on
news
it.
on that. And yeah, we'll just be doing one podcast a week unless some crazy news breaks and we want to do something else. But count on that for the next couple of weeks. So for Rides and Drives Team Radio, I am Harvey, and you can follow me at Harvey Drives on all the platforms. You can follow Kaz at Fast Car Kaz on all those platforms. And if you're on the TikToks, look for us at Rides and Drives Team Radio.
That's right. The TikToks. Exactly. All right. Well, for both of us at Rides and Drives Team Radio, this is Harvey. I am Kaz, and we are out.
Drive safe, everyone.